Okay, welcome to Panther Strategies Business Overview. This is CEO Andy Morbitzer. Welcome to the call. Today we have a special guest, Eric Highsmith from Scottsdale Mint, is our preferred supplier for our gold and our silver products. So we'll introduce him here in just 1 second. So I'm going to get started with the presentation. And as we start with everything, I'd like to start out with our product simply because it's unique. We're innovative. We are a platform built on money. And all of our products are money in one shape, form, or the other, whether it be structure on how to structure your finances, how to structure your business or your personal affairs. All of our products are money. And we started out last month, our pre-launch with strategic metals. And the slide that you see, we've got 6 strategic metals that we promoted last month. And then this month we've done silver and gold. And we're really proud of the fact that we have a saying called ROE, return on energy, meaning as you build your business, the products that are involved with this platform, of course, in a perfect world, will appreciate in value as well. So it's doubling your return on energy. You're building a business, earning a commission, and then the products within that platform also, in a perfect world, will appreciate in value. Now, before we get started, I always like to put out a disclosure. Nothing's guaranteed. Income, appreciation, any of the products that we sell, and we like to put that out that, there's a risk in every endeavor and every asset. But the whole principle behind what we do is diversification, having multiple assets in multiple jurisdictions that help protect us. It's diversification. It's called being a global entity and not having all your eggs in one basket. So last month we did strategic metals. The ones you see in there, Ge, Ga, and In, are germanium, gallium, and indium. And over the last 2 years, they're up anywhere 31 to 184% respectively. So that was our first product. And then, some of the others, we won't get into them here today, but we're offering rare color diamonds. Over the last 2 years, we look at the appreciable rates around the world at auction, Hong Kong, Singapore, London. Pink rare diamonds from the Argyle Mint in Australia up 700%. We got blue color diamonds on average at auction up 413%. Yellow 365, and then there's an up and coming market in China. They're very fond of green diamonds. You got to remember that the largest GDP in the world, capital flight out of China into real property assets, is at an all-time high. So those are some of the other products that we have, and we'll get into a few more. But today's call, really, I wanted to introduce you to gold and silver. The first 2 weeks of this month, we went over gold to silver ratios and why I believe silver is a better value in the precious metals market right now, simply because of the ratio, meaning for every ounce of gold that is mined, the ratio to silver is about 80 to 1, meaning if you took the spot price of gold and divided that by the spot price of silver, why, of course, you'd get about 80 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. So whenever that ratio hits about 80%, for the last decade or so, I've converted my gold into silver because it's the best value in precious metals. Now, conversely, the other side of that is when the ratio gets down to about 40 to 1, I convert it back into gold, and it's proved very profitable over the years. And if you were with us yesterday on Atlas Forge, we went through everything cyclical, and with the low interest rate and the highest debt in humanity, gold, silver is an absolute must in these financial times and turbulence and violence and debt. So we highly recommend gold and silver as your first cornerstone, your base, your foundation of building a very sound portfolio. So as we get into this, I'd like to introduce Eric Highsmith, who's been with Scottsdale Mint for several years. He's our contact that helped us design the products that you see now, the stackers, the silver gold. We have 3 gold products, 3 silver products, and we chose Scottsdale really because of their quality. And so today we wanted to introduce Eric, and we wanted to talk about, first introduce Eric as being a gold and silver entrepreneur, an expert in the field. And then we're going to share Certi-Lock, that is an innovative DNA tracking and verifiable system. So welcome to the call, Eric Highsmith. How are you, Eric?
Hey, Andy, doing great. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be with you and all your listeners today. and really looking forward to a great webinar.
Well, it's our pleasure. I appreciate that Scottsdale Mint. I mean, all of its success, and it's a dominant force in the Americas as one of the largest mints in America. What got you started into the precious metal industry? How long have you been part of the industry, and how long or when did you decide to join forces with Scottsdale Mint, and how did that all come about?
Yeah, no, great question. It feels like probably 30 or 40 years, but truth be told, it's only been about 10 years, actually, since Scottsdale was formed and started selling into the market. But the story for me, anyways, on the personal side, just began with investing in the precious metals markets through futures, through junior miners back in the mid 2000s, and leading up to what became the Great Recession. And it was at that time I was working in, prior was insurance and then telecommunications. And I got a call from a very good friend of mine, close friend of mine. And he said, hey, and this would have been '08. He says, hey, I've been really wanting to start a new company. The way the market's been, obviously the downturn in the economy, he found himself, up against the ropes with regards to employment. And he said, let's go do this. Come out and help me. So Josh Fair is who I'm speaking of, and he's our founder and president of Scottsdale Mint. And he left the corporate risk management and insurance business for a lot of the mining companies that I was investing in, believe it or not, and set out on a mission to really brand a retail ready form of bullion that was more appealing to the masses, the consumer level. And Scottsdale Mint was born at that time. And that would have been back in 2008. So yeah, 10 years ago now. Well, almost 11.
Wow, that's you've been around long enough to know, if you've gone through the 2008 crash, that you see the reciprocal effect of high debt, overvalued stock markets, and gold and silver is the perfect foundation, the perfect hedge. And when I look at gold and silver, I look at individual, meaning end user participation or acquiring gold and silver at one of the lowest points ever. But I see institutional investors, big ETFs, big hedge fund type manager type people that are buying gold and silver like crazy. What do they know that the average person doesn't know? Why is there such a big growth or so much attention right now into gold and silver and these large companies and hedge funds? They're setting records in gold and silver purchases.
Yeah, and I think if you go back to basics, obviously gold and silver, maybe to a little bit lesser extent, have been staples of really the strength of any economy or any government. You look at history and it proves itself time and time again. And there's probably for a separate conversation, but there may be additional forces at work that artificially suppress price. So the idea with investing in gold and silver, obviously you have a lot of options. You have, and those vary in risk. You have options of investing in paper, and that may be in the form of derivatives, futures, options, OTC types of investments, ETFs, actual stocks themselves of mining shares. And then you have the investment in physical. And, through the years, there's started to be disparities between those two different markets. You have your paper and then your physical price. And I think that's something that we kind of look to as a telltale sign of what's to come. Because as these paper markets break down and visibility into really what's going on increases, we may find out that either the gold isn't there or we need new price discovery mechanisms. And I think you hit the nail on the head. The smart money is buying. And, we've been in a bear market now for a good 5-6 years. And typically, money's got to move, and it is cyclical. So it will turn the corner here and move back into precious metals at some point. And the best thing to do is be prepared.
Well, as I research gold and I look at the difference between physical possession of a government issued coin versus a privately minted bullion, we'll get into that in just a second. But when I look at paper versus physical possession of a gold bullion, paper is really leveraged about 1,200 to 1, meaning there's 1,200 contracts for every ounce of gold on the paper exchange for gold. So there isn't enough physical product. If all those people wanted the physical gold or silver, why, of course, there's no way that they could supply that. So in my eyes, paper gold is an investment, is a somebody may be playing the market type thing, where I think the value of gold and silver is in that personal or physical possession where I know I've got my ounce of gold or my ounce of silver. Whereas in paper, do I really have my ounce of gold or ounce of silver if it's leveraged 1,200 to 1? And what I mean by 1,200 to 1, for those of you that are listening, that means that there's 1,200 people that have a certificate or whatever you want to call it that says they have ownership or rights to the 1 ounce of gold. So that's impossible. 1,200 people can't split the same ounce of gold. So I see a great value in physical possession of gold and silver. Anything you'd like to expand on that, Eric?
Yeah, and I think really, to put it simply, you're looking at the difference between speculative investing versus wealth preservation. Gold and silver in physical form. If you're taking delivery of the physical products, whether it's in your home or in a vault, somewhere in the world, you're really gearing yourself more towards that insurance policy on your money. And these can provide hedges during economic downturn. I know we've talked many a times, Andy, we've got similar views. What are these products for? If you're buying physical, you're really managing your risk and providing a backstop or almost a shock absorber for the times in our economies when we do have uncertainty and fear, inflation, geopolitical risks, you name it. And these are when precious metals, hard assets thrive, but they're not really meant, again, what we're speaking of, the physical form, to provide that speculative investment, but it's more so as a hedge towards inflation. It's also a backstop and, like we say, a shock absorber when other investments aren't performing.
Well, I agree, and I thank you. And I've always told my listeners that, there's really 4 types of money. Money that you use on a daily basis, money that really outpaces inflation, money that's a long-term hedge, buy and hold, and then there's money that's speculative in nature. And I'm very prudent in finance, and you have to cover your bases first. You have to protect what you already have. And the best way to get started and the best way to do that is, of course, gold and silver with physical possession. So as we looked around the world for a gold supply, and what really stuck out to us about Scottsdale is they had hands down the best quality that we saw. And for those listeners out there, could you explain a little bit about, the difference between a troy ounce and a voluptuous ounce, or what does 0.999 really mean, fine gold, and what's this little thing down at the bottom that says SA? Or could you explain what all this information
Sure.
on a piece of silver or gold really is and what it means?
Yeah, absolutely. And appreciate the kind words towards the company. We always do strive to be at an utmost quality, both in appearance and, of course, purity. And we meet weights for purity and weight. Our facilities here in Scottsdale, we have 2 facilities. One is a production facility. The other is executive offices, fulfillment, and warehousing or vaulting. Both of those are ISO 9001 certified facilities. So these are held to the utmost of quality, as we mentioned. And I think that translates nicely right into the look and the feel of our products. In respects to each product that is minted by Scottsdale Mint, it's going to have a few things that you could always look for. One of those being our hallmark, and that would be in the form of either our lion head or our company name somewhere on the bar, whether it's on the obverse or the reverse. That is essentially proof that it was minted by us and that it carries with it our 100% guarantee for things such as purity. And purity, as it's marked on the gold and silver bars that we're looking at here, if we're looking at, for instance, the gold bar at a 0.9999, that essentially means that it's minted to a minimum of 99.99% purity. And it's also guaranteed, as we again, uphold standards to ASTM for purity, it's guaranteed to that level. So if you were to assay this, if you were to take it to a refiner or a lab and have it tested, it would at a minimum have 99.99% gold. The same could be said for silver. However, in the investment world, what's accepted as pure silver is 395. So that's why you see the 0.999 plus, and essentially that means the same thing. You're getting a bar that's guaranteed to be at least 99.9% pure. Additionally, you'll find the weights of these bars marked directly on them. These are stamped into the face of the bars. 1 troy ounce on the gold. If we were to do the conversion, I believe that is, 31.1 grams. And if we translate it into imperial ounces, 1 troy ounce is actually a little bit heavier than an imperial ounce. So just for our listeners and investors here, there are 2 different types of ounces. And once you start really getting your feet wet in metals investing, you'll learn quickly that you want to make sure it's a troy ounce and not an imperial ounce. And then lastly, we do have an additional. So for Panther, we actually were able to create a special program for your products where we actually co-branded these with a company out of Switzerland to include what's called an assayer's mark. And that's what you see at the bottom where it has the AH, which stands for Ager Heraeus, if anybody's familiar with the Swiss gold company. And then that is their metal assayer's mark.
Well, thank you very much. That clarifies and helps answers a lot of the questions. I get the questions all the time. What does this mean or what does that mean? And going back to Scottsdale, when we first met you, we flew out to Scottsdale and had a wonderful time, met the owners, went through the executive offices and came up with drawings and the dies to produce this beautiful silver and gold pieces that are unique to us with our logo. We thought it was absolutely great. Your design team worked great, and we were 100% pleased with everything that you've done. And we just really appreciate you coming on board and helping us distribute this, build this. And let's move into what I believe is the product of the future for gold and silver, because as the values of gold and silver increase, so does fraud, and so does people trying to get away with some nonsense out there in the marketplace. So I'm glad that we chose you, because you have a very specific product that we absolutely love that we will share here right now. It's called Certi-Lock. And for those of you that don't know, Certi-Lock is, that's our product, Panther Strategies. That's the front and the back. But it's all about being able to identify, eliminate fraud, and protect ourselves as a company, protect ourselves as individuals, as investors. So there's something that's called Certi-Lock that if you want to see the video, it's actually on the Atlas Forge website for those of you. But if you could, how did Certi-Lock come about? And if you could, can you explain what the QR codes are and the serial number and how the mobile apps and all that kind of works together for the safety and the reduction of fraud worldwide? And this also, Certi-Lock, because it's on our product, that's what gives us the ability to have a guaranteed buyback program that we don't have to spend excessive amounts of money verifying the content and so forth, because we can track it and all those types of things. So walk us through how this works once it's made, how it's tracked, and the app and all that kind of good stuff, if you would, Eric.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it is important. And, as the value of anything that we buy, and whether it's gold or shoes or purses, the potential or the likelihood of counterfeits entering the marketplace just becomes that much greater. So I think, to answer your question in a nutshell, it's really about playing offense as opposed to defense when it comes to these products and really the R&D that goes behind it. I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of insight into the counterfeit market as a member of the Council on Tangible Assets for there's actually a work group that was put together about a couple of years ago by the Industry Council on Tangible Assets, and that is in specifics to finding out, what exists in the marketplace with regards to counterfeits, what the risks are, and how to combat it really at the border. So as metal enters the United States. And what we've found is there's not a lot of innovation in our industry. We've got older refiners, older mints that are producing products, and they've been doing it the same for the last 40, 50, 80 years. And they're producing pure and worthy products to the market. However, they're easy to counterfeit. So through the years, we've seen some companies play offense in the form of creating packaging. For example, I know like RCM and PAMP and Perth. They use these Certi-cards that will go around the bars and help protect them. But there's inefficiencies in that. And what we tried to do with the development of Certi-Lock was pull out those inefficiencies and find solutions to them. And that's how really Certi-Lock was born. And it was a good probably closer to 3 years of R&D before this was put to market. So just to walk you through, there's several layers of security with each Certi-Lock package. And I'm going to focus a good bit on the packaging as opposed to the gold or the silver that's inside, because that's one of the key components to Certi-Lock. It's not necessarily about the metal inside from a security standpoint. It's more about locking it inside through the packaging itself. So again, playing offense in an innovative and more secure way in order to deter counterfeits. The idea here is that we don't make it counterfeit proof. I don't know of anybody that could say that. However, we will make it very difficult to replicate. If we compare this to others in the market, they may be using just regular old plastic or blister pack that you might find in retail packaging for, cell phones or prepaid card, whatever it may be. I'm going to point out a few of the differences, not just in the plastic, but just the whole methodology about sealing and locking these bars inside. So first off, we'll start with, everybody has a picture of the bar in front of them. Each one of these bars is packaged in plastic that is tamper evident. It's sealed with a frangible material that if it is tampered with, it's easily apparent. So if you were to buy one that showed some tampering, you would know very quickly. You probably wouldn't accept it. Additionally, you will find serial numbers, some 3D barcodes, as well as some holographic material on the card itself. We have a two-step verification program. It's actually been developed and unveiled in an app that can be downloaded from Certi-Lock.com and put directly on your smartphone. That first level of verification will actually have you scan that 3D barcode, and in doing so, it'll then have you plug in the serial number for the bar. That then will go to it'll essentially say if it's passed or not passed. That'll then take you to a second verification that shows you a photograph of the bar. Now, why is that important? Well, that photograph is actually taken during manufacturing. So that is at the point this bar is sealed. So you'll get a picture, high-res picture, where you could zoom in, you could look at the details of the bar right on your PC or your phone, and you could compare it to the bar you have. The reason that this is important is because if you were to take, say, a fake, one of the other mints in their packaging, if you were to take a fake or counterfeit bar and put it next to a real one, you would see small subtleties in the difference, both in the packaging and probably the bar. We want you to be able to see the real thing and compare it to what you have. Now, beyond that, there are additional levels of security for both the dealer and for the manufacturer. We've actually embedded what's called overt DNA, where a particular type of light can be passed over the packaging, and it will reveal a certain color that will tell the dealer whether this is authentic packaging or not. Additionally, beyond that, there's what's called synthetic or covert DNA that is embedded into each card, which at the manufacturer level, we can actually test this and sequence the DNA to know if this is real, the original coating that was embedded within the plastic. So as you can see, we've gone to links in order to make it difficult for counterfeiters to replicate this material. At the end of the day, is it possible? Sure. But is it going to cost them a lot of money and a lot of time? Absolutely. They probably choose some other product to take that time and spend that money on.
Well, that's really awesome. I love what we're doing here and what you've done with this. It solves a lot of problems in the marketplace. It allows us the flexibility to offer a guaranteed buyback because when you look at it, one of the biggest problems in gold and silver is where do you sell it once you want to liquidate it? And it's always been a problem. I mean, you sell it to, they have these little groups that go around and pay 30 cents on the dollar at these home shows for your gold and silver jewelry, or you could sell it on eBay, or worse, you could buy it on eBay and not really know what you're buying. It could be counterfeit. Anybody that would buy gold and silver on eBay is taking a huge risk, in my opinion. But if you have 1 second, I just found the video for Certi-Lock, and I'm going to play that, see if I can get this to render. Well, I'm sorry to have put you through that, Eric. I'm sure you've only seen that like 1,000 times. Yes.
Well, it's actually a good thing you played it because it reminded me that we've actually unveiled a second generation of Certi-Lock since that video was made, which would have been 2015, and then we just recently updated it as of about a year ago. So if you'll note, the video showed the purple packaging. This shows a black packaging, and for reasons which made things even better for the end user as far as even more secure, we changed it slightly and got some feedback from the market and revamped the look and feel a little bit. So if anybody asks, you will see some purple material in the market, but anything going forward will look just like we've got here on the screen. It's the black Certi-Lock material.
Well, I absolutely love it. I think it's very unique. It's very valuable. It solves a lot of problems. And like I've said, it really gives us the ability to offer people a fair and honest liquidatable path in which they, sometimes crises arrive, present themselves in life. And sometimes, it might be that you need some extra cash. That's why we hedge and that's why we store. It's for, like you said earlier, it's for shock absorbers, whether that be personal finance, the government shutdown, fiat currencies debt, or any of those types of things. I think it's an absolutely beautiful product. And I can't say enough how thankful I am that you took a risk on our company and presented these products in such a way. And your knowledge over the years now, it's been a couple of years now that we've met and got to know each other. So I really appreciate you coming on here today, saying a few words and introducing yourself, and we'll do what we can on our part over the next years to bring this to the masses worldwide. So I really appreciate you coming on the call today, Eric.
Hey, Andy, likewise, really appreciate the relationship and, obviously lean on me for support and what we can do as a company to help you grow your line and to assist your investors and your clients and really taking part in this movement into gold and silver over the next many years.
Well, many thanks, my friend. Okay, guys, you just heard it from the horse's mouth. That was Eric Highsmith again with Scottsdale Mint. It's a great relationship that we had, and we couldn't be more proud and pleased with our decision to move forward with Scottsdale Mint. And I'm going to move forward with the rest of the presentation. Panther products are our money. Rare whiskeys, for example. In the very near future, in the coming months, we're going to launch these additional real property assets, one of them being rare whiskey. And these are Port Ellens. This is in the House of Singapore. Johnny Walker, House of Singapore. This is what they call the $1 million room, where you can pretty much make your own flavor of whiskey if you like. You can buy it by the cask. Great investment potential and rare whiskeys, very popular with the Chinese, the Japanese, all throughout Ireland. Single malts and 12-year-old Scott, 16-year-old, 40. It's just a great way. It's another spoke in the wheel of asset diversification. And oh, by the way, depending upon the whiskey, all sold at auction. These things are also vaultable. You can store these things in a vault if you'd like. Some of the vaults that we have are temperature controlled, dark. Some people put fine arts in there. I'm not personally getting into that. I know nothing about it, but assets. Remember, guys, people, the asset flight, or what I call capital flight around the world from the paper assets to the physical assets are at an all-time high worldwide. People know that this fiat monster that these central banks and governments have created around the world will pop and will render themselves worthless and go bankrupt. How do we know this? Well, because there's been approximately 4,000 currencies since biblical times, and every single fiat currency has failed. Every single one of them, without exception. And we're at the precipice now for that event to take place again. This time, since everything's really paired to the dollar, as the dollar goes, so goes the world. And there's many things that are really challenging the dominance of the US dollar. And gold accumulation by Russia and China, special drawing rights, and the countries involved there, China, Russia, Germany, the United States, Japan, all the 5 top GDPs of the world are buying and storing gold with the IMF, because at some point, there is one entity in the world that can bail out the US dollar, and that's the International Monetary Fund. And they have something called special delivery rights that gives them the ability to, in essence, issue a world currency. And to get a seat at the table, these countries have to have a specific amount or tonne of gold to be in the old boys school, if you will, because they're already preparing for the downturn of fiat currencies. The challenges are coming from all over the place. The highest price to earnings ratio in the stock market, you see every day. Inflation, declining purchasing power, cryptocurrency starting to make a dent on monetary velocity of the US dollar. So there's lots of things behind the scenes that could be very detrimental to your way of life, your savings. That's why we advise asset allocation abroad and diversification. And this is just another spoke on the wheel. So we've got gold, silver, strategic metals with the Internet of Things, diamonds, whiskeys, cryptocurrency. Every one of these products are deemed real property. They appreciate. You're not going to get a yield or a return. They're not a security or derivative. They have nothing to do with the stock market or paper or anything. These are assets that you own, maintain, and control. And that's the key to surviving the next decade or two. So passive residual income products coming soon. We've talked about strategics, we've talked metals, we've talked about precious metals, diamonds, whiskeys, and here at the beginning of the new year, Panther Strategies is going to launch 1, if not 2, passive residual income opportunities and cryptocurrency. These are going to be opportunities that actually have a usage. These have utility, meaning the coin actually is going to do something. It's actually going to be worth something. Because what we've run into in cryptocurrency is there's over 6,000 coins, and about 5,990 of those coins are totally worthless. So you need to understand, we're going to get into cryptocurrency education, cold storage, online, exchanges, how to get in and out of a position. I'm going to make some cold hard predictions on coins that I like for a long-term play that you want to buy and hold that already have utility. Meaning they already have a captive audience of 10 million people, for example. And these are coins, of course, that I'm going to announce and reveal those and these products on Atlas Forge and Panther Strategies here in the coming weeks, and definitely by the beginning of the year. And we're going to come out of the gate with some absolutely awesome products with cryptocurrency. If you think you missed the benefits of cryptocurrency, then you're misinformed. I'll get into it when we start the cryptocurrency education. So know that those innovative products that are passive residual or static products, if you will, are coming to the neighborhood near you soon. We've already done the agreements. We're on board. We're excited. Now we just have to, pay attention to some details, and this will be absolutely awesome. So category creative, Panther Strategies, really, when we come to market, nobody in the world has ever thought or knew anything about strategic metals. If you followed us in Atlas Forge and our teachings, why, of course, strategic metals and the Internet of Things, drones, electric cars, solar power, smartphones, computers, everything or anything that's electronic, that has a semiconductor, a transistor, 5G, smartphones, crypto, everything uses strategic metals. They are the lifeblood of everything electronic, or the future of the Internet of Things. Diamonds. Diamonds are not only a girl's best friend, they're a man's best friend, because there's a lot of advantages to diamonds as far as taxes, as far as jewelry, the implications. It's concentrated wealth. I mean, literally a rare colored pink diamond that's, say, a carat, that's a VS1 flawless, for example, it might be $100,000 in one little rock. So for our connections and our clientele that are wealthy, we're going to bring this down so everybody can afford it in a way that everybody can take advantage of these absolutely, I think, unique category creating products. Strategic metals, diamonds, whiskeys. Nobody in the world's doing what we're doing with a platform and a distribution arm to support it. We together as a team, we're much more effective if we can work together as a team, not only through purchasing power, but, some of these products were only available to individuals that had $100,000 or more. Strategic metals, you couldn't buy or get an ISO wholesaler in strategic metals for under $100,000. Now, you could go buy some novelty, some gimmicky little metals on eBay or something, but an investment grade strategic metal you couldn't touch. So we're excited that we're category creators in a lot of different disciplines and core competencies of products, and we're excited to bring them to the world. So our whole principle really is you need to be your own bank. You need to take control. We're in the 21st century, and it's time that you're proactive. I don't care where you go or what you read. The signs are there. The warning signs are there. When you see, 20 central banks paying negative interest, you have the biggest bond bubble negative interest. You have the highest debt, student loan, country, world, individual, consumer. Debt is the killer with all-time lowest interest rates. Remember, free money. You're going to have to pay a price for the free money. The world is just addicted to free money, and there's consequences to free money. So you need to take ownership. You need to diversify fiat currencies. The fiat currencies that we do utilize to run business are international businesses. One of our companies is solely and specifically set up in Singapore because they have the strongest banking in the world. They have reserves that are 20, 30 times what a Western bank has, without the toxic derivatives and the mortgage crisis and all these toxic loans that they bundle and resell. At the end of the day, when those go bust, we, the middle class, are the ones that bear the brunt through taxation and bailouts and bail-ins and all these different tricks that these central banks play. So it's time that we have awakened and we take control of our own finance. We need to be very, very cautious right now. If you're a state employee, government employee, federal employee, 401k, self-directed IRAs, if all of your assets are in paper investments, know that those are under great peril, under great risk. Paper with all-time high debt and low interest rate. See, the money that was printed in the last administration over the last 10 years went directly to the central banks and Wall Street. You don't see inflation at this point because that money never really hit Main Street USA. So they bailed out the banks, they bailed out GM, they bailed out real estate industry because those are the two industries that expand monetary supply, meaning loans, paper, loans, debt, because they believe that fixing the economy is through consumption and not saving. And that's the exact opposite of what is true. So take it upon yourself and learn about your pension, your 401k, and if there's a way to diversify that, or maybe it's a new allocation that you start today where you do, you commit $50 or $100 a month towards silver or gold or strategic metals. Remember, the winner of this game is the prudent one that does dollar cost averaging over a long period of time through multiple disciplines, meaning multiple different asset classes, to really not only survive, but to thrive the next decade or two. Mark my words, it will be the most challenging in your lifetime. So take advantage of this window of opportunity that you have right now to bulletproof yourself, diversify, survive and thrive. That's the whole. More money is made during a down economy than an up economy, because people buy or sell out of fear. They sell out of necessity. And that's when you have the opportunity to buy at ridiculously low value. I look at cryptocurrency right now. It's lost 80% of its value over the last year. If I was looking at cryptocurrency, I think this would be a nice point of entry. Remember, every new payment system, every new thing that was called a currency or a money or a credit card or an ATM or a checking account or kiosk, every payment system that you look throughout history, whether it was gold or silver, whatever, currency itself took decades to implement. Bitcoin is at its infancy. Now, has it been volatile? Absolutely. Just like any new asset class that comes on board. At the beginning, there's too many people that own way too much of it. And as they start to take profits and sell off, and the ecosystem expands, meaning more people participate, the less power that they have. Remember, if you were on yesterday's training, everything is cyclical. I laid out exactly what happened to Bitcoin and why. Now, I predicted this a year in advance, and I've got it on tape. It's not like I just made it up because it happened to crash a lot this last month. No, this is documented from a year or 2 years ago, exactly what would happen. Now we're at that phase where I think it's a great entry point back into cryptocurrency. And some of the products that we're going to introduce here in the coming weeks and next month, why, of course, we've made a huge commitment towards it. So those are my thoughts on that. So with that said, the other angle that I really like to exploit here with what we do at Panther Strategies is we're first to market. And whenever you're first to market, with any of the products that we've talked about here on this overview, you're going to get the lion's share of the revenue. You're going to get the lion's share of the interest, the excitement, the ability to help people. There's very little competition, if any. You're going to penetrate markets that capital flight. Like if you look at the Pacific Rim and people that are Malaysia, from Hong Kong or South Korea or Thailand or Philippines, or the GDPs and the population explosion in the Pacific Rim, and you can penetrate some of these markets early on, oh my gosh, the sky's the limit on income and being successful. So being first to market, you're going to make the most amount of money. That's just the way it is with anything. If you're the first one to do it and it works, which these are all proven assets, we've built the platform for you. We have an international turnkey opportunity. We're operating in 100 different countries. We have replicated websites, business tools, rewards, and it's inexpensive to get started. We've got our marketing team right now working on the business tools, building a funnel, everything that you would need to market the business. We have gathered professionals like Eric Highsmith with Scottsdale Mint that came and joined us here today that they lead us and give us good quality information in the areas of precious metals, just like we did with Bodo Albrecht and strategic metals, and just like we're going to do with whiskeys, diamonds, and cryptocurrency. So we've done all the hard work. We've already built the relationships. These are trusted, vetted professionals, because it's a scary world out there. If you want to go invest in some of these products, it's arduous, it's confusing, it's you got to be careful. I remember Nicole and I, we were down in Panama. We were going to buy our first strategic metals, and I had my checkbook in my suit. I was ready to write a 6-figure check and get the ball started on strategic metals. But little did this company know that I do background checks. I go and I visit the offices. I go and visit the people. And we spent, well, almost all of 2016, some of 2017, just like we did with Scottsdale Mint. We flew to Scottsdale. We went and met Eric. We went and met the CEO. We wanted to see logistics. We wanted to see the dies, the design. I'm not one to just jump into something without having some kind of recourse, some kind of assurances. And you can learn a lot when you meet people in person. I can't learn anything from anybody through text online. So all of these relationships we use personally. Every product that we have on Panther Strategies, we own, maintain, and control. We've already done it. And I don't care if that's a trust, that's a LLC, an international bank account, gold, silver, diamonds, cryptocurrency, whiskey, it doesn't matter. We've done it. That's the whole reason we put this together, is because it's a very vicious world out there with a lot of unknowns and a lot of, well, less than equitable situations. Let's put it that. You got to be careful is what I'm saying. So what we offer is a community where we can collaborate. We've got the trusted, vetted professionals on board to help steer the ship in the right direction. And hopefully we've accomplished that with Panther Strategies. This is really the, if you will, the main highlight of all of our products, in my opinion. Yes, we have all these physical products that you own, maintain, and control, but to really understand the principles behind the physical products, we have Atlas Forge. And Atlas Forge is a subscription-based, a monthly subscription, let's say $1 or $2 a day. So there's one that is a Pioneer, that's 30 euros a month, I believe. And then there's an advanced one that's $60 a month. This is a product within Panther Strategies. Actually, Atlas Forge has a partnership with Panther Strategies. Atlas Forge is a product within Panther Strategies, but Panther Strategies is the marketing arm for Atlas Forge. So they have an arm's length agreement. Our educational platform that will cover every core competency that we've spoken about of all of our physical products. These are all things that are, I don't expect everybody to do them overnight. This is a process, a step-by-step process that ensures that you're doing everything possible to the nth degree by the law of protecting yourself and your family. So we really talk about financial education you don't get in school, because when I came out of high school, they didn't teach us anything. I knew more about baseball stats because I was a baseball fan. I used to keep the books on the baseball team. Yeah, I mean, that was my financial education coming out of high school in a podunk little town in, Ohio, farm country. I didn't know anything about macroeconomics or investing or anything. I didn't even know what real money was or diversification, no less how to buy it or why I would buy it. So that's what we do. We bring these professionals from these different competencies that are going to help us understand why we do this. What should we buy? When should we do it? Where should we do it? What are the risks? What are the advantages? That's what Atlas Forge is all about. It's a collaborative effort of experts from around the world that we use personally that help educate you and help you find your path and find your way through what will be, like I always say, a very, very challenging decade or two. So that is our flagship product, Atlas Forge Education, 21st Century Asset Protection. So we're all about diversifying assets, diversifying income, all in one opportunity. So Panther Strategies is that platform that allows you to build an international turnkey business that is a one-stop shop. You get paid. One of the ways that we get paid in Panther is through real property. You could get paid in gold, silver, strategic metals, any of these different types of things, cryptocurrency. So we're adding an additional income stream. Remember, the very first thing you need to do in your financial preparedness is get out of debt. How do you get out of debt if you're on a salary or if you're on a fixed income? It's very difficult. Your habits really don't change. You're going to spend X every month. Whether you know it or not, it's habitual. So how do you get rid of your debt? How do you change your habits? Well, one of the easiest ways to eliminate debt, you got it, additional income stream. That's why we built Panther Strategies, is to build a business, earn that additional income, reduce that debt, eliminate that debt, expunge that from your life. And it's a much more freeing experience when you don't have to worry about credit card debt or college debt, or when money becomes no object. It really changes your perception on a lot of different things. And once your money starts earning you money, then when you make the turn, when you switch that over from paying somebody's compound interest to earning appreciation, now that changes everything. See, just like, people say, well, Andy, how did you diversify? What did you do? Or how did you do it? And I said, well, I believe in gold and silver as my foundation. Just like I always say, we offer the entire spectrum. We have foundational, protect, hedge, save, and then we have, as we always say, we invest from a position of strength, which could be very easily, I like silver more than gold right now, strategic metals very nicely, whiskeys, wines, and then you go over to the speculative side in cryptocurrency. Well, we made some money in cryptocurrency. And as I tell all linear thinkers, if you're only looking at the price, then you bought it for the wrong reason. If you're looking at your phone or your computer on an investment every hour or 3 times a day, then you probably have too much invested in that one singular asset. And you need to diversify. And then collectively, it's shock absorbers. So if something happens in this arena, you've got 4 other assets that, in all intent and purposes, well, the relationship to fiat to gold, for example. If the stock market crashes, why, of course, gold and silver is going to go to the moon. It's all about preparation. It's all about shock absorbers. And the world's full of shock absorbers. Think about it. In every 15 years, there's either a war, a dramatic conflict, a macroeconomic crisis, a stock market crash, a currency crash, a trade war itself. I mean, we've learned things are cyclical. So we add that beautiful diversify your assets and your income in one opportunity. Why is this opportunity better than any other one on the planet that I've seen? And I've been doing this for decades. Because our products are money. Everybody knows money. Everybody uses money. You don't need a special doctor and efficacy. And it's not some root from the Amazon jungles of Peru and you're in competition with 5,000 other companies. No, this is money. This is easy to understand. Everybody understands money, or at least they think they do. But my point is this: if you can build a business and earn money on that business, and the products within that business are earning you money, you've doubled your efforts. In effect, you've leveraged yourself on income. And that's a great thing. Like I said, ROE, return on energy. So to wind these things up, memberships have its privileges. We offer passive residual income, and you're going to see that in a huge way in the very near future with some cryptocurrency products that we're going to launch. You get 3% discount on strategic metals, and really we earn 7 different ways within our distribution or our marketing plan. 7 ways to earn our direct sales rewards. So you introduce somebody to our business, you're going to earn 5 to 15%. Panther Career Bonus. As you start building a team, the collective effort of you and your team are going to qualify you for career bonuses. And this is like a body of work. And it starts at 200 euros a month up to 50,000 euros a month. And people always say, oh, nobody ever makes that. I'm in 2 networking companies right now, and I can guarantee you, because I am one, these numbers are very easily attainable. You got to remember, this is the right time, the right place with the right products. Have patience. Rome wasn't built in a day. It's network marketing. It's work. I mean, people sometimes they get a little spoiled that they think that they can just put money into something and not do any work and they're going to be a millionaire. Well, that doesn't work. It takes work. This is a business. This is a worldwide opportunity with this is big boy network marketing. And then, of course, we have Atlas Forge subscription. Let's say somebody doesn't want a additional income stream. Maybe it's a baby boomer or somebody, and he's retired, and he just doesn't have maybe the skills necessary or the time or the inclination or the will to maybe he's already a millionaire and he doesn't need any more money. You have the opportunity to approach people with Atlas Forge subscription where they can engage in our culture, learn from Atlas Forge. They have access to every one of our products, and you can sell it on the retail side. This will be the number one way that people come in. Retail sales will dominate on Atlas Forge. It's just the way it is. Not everybody has the acumen to be able to build an international business, and I get that. But for those of you that do, there are some great rewards in the Panther distribution arms. Club Forge rewards, those are cycling. When you have so much volume left and so much volume right, every time you reach that threshold, you're going to earn 30 to 80 euros every time that happens. It'll be the number one way that you get paid in Panther Strategies, the Club Forge rewards. And then you have for these marketers that, I know guys that literally share the opportunity and sponsor thousands of people. I don't know where they get the energy and how big their lists and how long they've been doing it. I've done it before, but it was decades ago when I was a younger man with a lot more energy. But we have set aside 22% in club matching bonus, 3 generations deep, meaning bloodline. I share it with, since we just had Eric on, I share it with Eric. Eric shares it with Nicole. I'd earn 10% on Eric and 7% on Nicole, meaning any commissions earned. Let's say Eric, this week, we sell some gold and silver, and Eric, let's say, made $1,000. Why, of course, 3 generations. If Eric made $1,000 that week, then I would earn 10%, $100 of his 1,000. Of not his 1,000, but additional. I would earn 100, he would earn his 1,000. Car bonus. Love, love, love car bonus. And the Jaguar that you're looking at right now, that's Nicole's, car. She loves it. She's got a Jag. Her dad's British, so it all kind of fit. And of course, it's an exotic cat. It's even one of our membership levels, the Jaguar level. So what better than a car bonus? It's easy to achieve, and nothing nicer than a nice new ride to cruise around town. So incentives. We also have incentives ranging everywhere from electronics, from iPads, but we've got different types of investments that once you reach a certain career level, you're going to automatically qualify for this incentive. Some of them are cars, some of them are villas, some of them are all different types of investments. I think diamond, whiskey, but they're absolutely beautiful products and beautiful incentives. So 7 ways to earn. Absolutely love it. It coexists with any other program or work schedule. If I was someone, maybe a millennial age, I'm a blue collar worker, and it's not really even blue collar worker. I see robotics replacing a lot of jobs from delivery. You look at these drones that can deliver groceries, deliver pizzas. The biggest delivery company in the world is what? Domino's and Pizza Hut. Well, that's all going to come onto the grid and the Internet of Things, and everything's becoming aware and becoming smarter and more adaptable. And there'll become a point in time where you can just get on your phone, order your pizza, and a drone will drop it off to you, wherever you might be in the world, whether it's a jungle or if it's your front porch. The need for the workforce is going to change. I see robotics, fast food workers. I see now that they have robots that can make pizzas, cook them, put them in the drone and deliver them. And not one human was even in the building. So the jobs, when I look at the future, will be maintenance on these robotics, the electronics, the semiconductors, the things that require any kind of maintenance and those types of things. But I see automation in the next 10, 20 years that will dominate the blue collar workforce. So knowing that, it's imperative that you get interested, invested into maybe another opportunity where it starts to supplement your income now, and then at some point, in the next year or two, it'll completely wean you off of your 9-to-5 job. And I guarantee your attitude, your life, and everything will be a lot more pleasurable. Being an entrepreneur, having control of your life, your finance, when you work, how you work, where you work, and who you work for, it's a great thing. No traffic, no boss, no sales quotas. To me, network marketing is the best income producing. And let's just be honest. I don't care what industry it is around the world. They're all network marketing. They all have hierarchy. They all have a president, a CEO, a board, executives, mid-level, low-level employees, and then maybe blue-collar manufacturing. It's all set up the same way. So the people out there that quite honestly, our haters in network marketing are absolutely clueless, closed-minded individuals. It's very powerful because think of your other alternative. If you want to go start a business, let's say you want to go buy a McDonald's or a franchise or something like that. I mean, just right out of the gate. Let's say you want to do an internet business. Well, we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars putting our sites together, Atlas Forge, Panther Strategies, from logistics to payments to, oh my, it's endless. Nicole has done a wonderful job on putting this all together, presenting it in a way that everybody can understand it. But it's expensive to come to market, even online. I mean, without the brick and mortar. I mean, you get into a franchise type thing. I mean, minimum, it's a six-figure number, and most people don't have, $100,000, $1 million to go start up a direct sales company or a fast food chain or what have you. It's expensive, and the odds are you're going to fail in the first 3 years anyway. So you might as well let somebody else bear the brunt of all this expense and upfront capitalization and revenue and plug in and play. All that you have to do is be a good inviter. Invite people to calls like this, and you don't have to be an expert in all this. That's what we do. That's what you're paying for in Panther Strategies. You're paying for all of the experts that I know that are coming onto these calls. You're paying for the relationships that I have around the world with these wholesalers and these resellers of these different products that are trusted, and that's what you're paying for. You're paying for a worldwide turnkey opportunity in multiple languages. I mean, it is the best value proposition to start a new business I can think of. Most of our products and the way we think is we really love the future, and the future is going to be very exciting. We love silver because silver makes up everything electronic. We love strategic metals because it makes up everything electronic, drones, robotics, solar panel, and 5G smartphones. I haven't touched on that yet, but every one of those use a processor, a microchip, a semiconductor, and it will dominate the landscape in less than 5 years. 5G will dominate and run the cryptocurrencies of the world, the blockchain, the delivery, the logistics, the smart contracts, the Internet of Things, the smartphones, the smart computers, the smart cities. It'll open and close blinds to increase or decrease temperature, save energy. Know that the future is right on that screen. These processors and these microchips, think about it. When 5G comes out, not only are strategic metals and silver just pertinent to everything, it's the future. Everything's going to have a chip. I don't care what it is, it's going to have a chip on it. Hopefully not humans, but every product in the world is going to run on 5G smartphones. You're talking about billions of new computers, tens of billions of new smartphones. So instead of investing in Apple or Samsung stock, which is the most expensive it's ever been, guys, remember, during the gold rush, all the miners that ran out to California to go beat the hell out of the ground with a pick and a shovel and an axe, they didn't make any money. Who made the money? The general store who sold the pick, the axe, and the wheelbarrow. That's what we are. We're a general store. And we have some really, really good picks, axes, shovels, and wheelbarrows. We're selling the future. And if you can understand that and grasp that, the future's unlimited. Both income, success, we've got it all right here. I'm not just saying this because I'm the owner and the CEO of this thing. I absolutely believe this is the best platform and network marketing on the planet, period. And I'll challenge anybody out there who wants to talk about it. Come on. So with that said, 5G, we are just now entering, as you can see, 2018, the start of what will be the next wireless revolution. This will change. And to put it in perspective and to quantify it for you, think of autonomous cars. And on 4G, let's say that the car in front of you when you're driving stops abruptly for whatever reason. 4G will stop your car in 10 feet. 5G will stop your car in 1 inch. That's how much faster it is. It's 1,000 times faster than 4G. And it's one heck of an opportunity in strategic metals, silver, the Internet of Things. It's just getting started. So we're going to have huge demand for a very limited strategic metals and silver around the world. So to me, it's an absolute, I couldn't have dreamed a better scenario than what's going on right now in the world of finance and debt and what we're offering to the people. I'm well pleased. So with that said, get back with the person that shared this with you. That's the overview for Panther Strategies today. Again, thanks to Eric Highsmith with Scottsdale Mint. Really appreciate you, buddy. And we look forward to a great 2019. We're starting now and we're coming out of the gates. So we look forward to hearing from you, and we will talk soon.